take a deep breath and look around. That vibrant woman laughing across the room, the one acing her career and juggling family demands. Do you ever stop to wonder what exhausting secrets are truly hiding behind that perfect, unwavering smile? We all put on a face, but for many women, that smile is less an expression of joy and more a meticulously crafted shield, keeping a lifetime of unseen battles locked away. As a therapist, I have spent decades listening to the whispers that follow the hearty laughter. What I've learned is that the most painful struggles often belong to the women we least suspect, the ones who appear, to the outside world, to be living lives that are utterly flawless. They are the masters of masking, and the exhaustion of maintaining that facade is slowly breaking them down. We are going to explore the hidden landscape of these emotional struggles, from the quiet terror of smiling depression to the pervasive self-doubt of imposter syndrome and the crushing weight of modern expectations. The anatomy of the perfect smile, high-functioning happiness. When we talk about hidden pain, the first concept that comes to mind is often the one we call smiling depression. While you won't find this term officially listed as a psychiatric disorder in the standard diagnostic manuals, it is a profoundly real experience. It describes a high-functioning form of depression where an individual is battling internal gloom but presents an exterior of happiness, joy, and often a vibrant, optimistic life. To everyone else, she appears to have a perfect, or at least highly desirable, life. She holds a steady job, maintains a healthy social life, and generally seems happy and content. But scratch beneath the surface, and the classic signs of depression are raging within. Persistent sadness, feelings of guilt or worthlessness, overwhelming hopelessness, and a loss of interest in activities she once loved. The irony here is brutal. The person struggling with smiling depression often has enough energy and motivation to conceal her sadness, maintain her responsibilities, and even, tragically, act on suicidal thoughts. Unlike those with severe, visible depression who sometimes lack the energy to get out of bed, the highly functional depressive maintains the outward strength to plan and carry out self-harm. This is precisely why smiling depression is so exceptionally dangerous. The mask prevents timely detection and intervention. Sometimes, the hidden symptoms are subtle shifts, dramatic changes in appetite, either extreme hunger or a loss of interest in food, and resulting weight fluctuations, or chaotic sleep patterns, sleeping too much, or waking up too early and being unable to return to sleep. Even in the face of these hidden symptoms, she maintains her positive, optimistic facade in public. The burden of perfection, why we wear the mask so. Why are women in particular so adept at hiding this profound internal pain? The reasons are a complicated web of societal demands, internalized shame, and the pervasive fear of vulnerability. One of the deepest, most common fears is the reluctance to become a burden. For women who are often the primary caretakers, mothers, partners, or professionals who manage everyone else's needs, the idea of admitting they are struggling feels like adding one more heavy task to someone else's plate. They simply do not know how to ask for help, so they keep the struggle fiercely internalized. Furthermore, there is immense shame and fear of weakness. Some women believe that being depressed is a character flaw or a sign of weakness, and they tell themselves they should be able to simply snap out of it. The vulnerability that comes with sharing emotional pain is terrifying. It opens the door to potential judgment, ridicule, or worst of all, being taken advantage of. As one source noted, revealing hurt feelings makes you look weak and powerless, prompting the fear that others will use this sensitivity against you. This pressure is often compounded by cultural and societal expectations. We are constantly barraged with messages to be positive and remain optimistic. Women in particular, especially those in leadership or caregiving roles, feel an intense pressure to be reliable, composed, and emotionally steady. If a woman admits she is not okay, it feels like an admission of failure. The perfection trap and the social media mirage. Many women who smile through the pain are driven by perfectionism. They require everything in their lives, their work, their relationships, their home, to be flawless. Admitting to depression or anxiety is synonymous with acknowledging an imperfect life, a truth they simply cannot reconcile within themselves. The inner voice screams, "I have a good life. I have no right to complain. Others have it worse." This perfectionism thrives in the modern age, fueled by the unrealistic expectations presented on social media. We live in a world where everyone posts pictures of their success and happiness, distorting the concept of a normal, flawed life. The woman struggling silently feels uniquely isolated, believing she is the only one wrestling with internal mental health issues. Who dares to post a photo when they are feeling terrible? Instead, we curate cheerful highlights, which only exacerbates the smiling depression cycle. In real-life relationships, the need to maintain this perfect facade manifests in peculiar ways. We see relationship visibility, the intense need to publicize one's relationship online. While some share joy simply because they are happy, research suggests that a high degree of relationship visibility is often correlated with deep insecurity and anxiety within the relationship itself. The anxious partner, fearful of their partner's commitment, posts relentless photos to prove to the world, and perhaps to themselves, that everything is fine. They are constantly trying to prove that the relationship is stable, especially on days they feel the most uncertain. It's a vicious, exhausting cycle. Spending too much time constructing that perfect digital story makes it nearly impossible to invest in nurturing the actual relationship offline. The double burden and the quiet scourge of self-doubt beyond the purely psychological reasons for concealment. Modern women face intense, overwhelming structural pressures that contribute to this need to mask internal chaos. We call it the double burden. Despite entering the workforce in formal and informal sectors at increasing rates, women continue to shoulder the majority of unpaid domestic and caregiving work. They carry the crushing weight of work outside the home and domestic responsibility on their shoulders. In a confessional moment, a client once told me, "I feel like I have to carry the whole world." Societal expectations, compounded by internal perfectionism, drive women to self-impose endless, exhausting standards. Cook a full, healthy meal every night, never get angry at the children, smile at the husband even when utterly exhausted, maintain the ideal weight and skin, manage a successful career, and keep every relationship harmonious. These burdens were never demanded by society, yet women place these impossible standards upon themselves, often driven by the expectations of their mothers, peers, and the curated images seen online. One colleague, a seemingly perfect mother and dedicated worker, shared that for over a decade she had woken up before dawn to cook for her family because her husband and in-laws preferred home-cooked meals. When others expressed awe at her devotion, she felt satisfied, but she was trapped in a self-made golden cage. These non-existent pressures create genuine barriers, limited personal time, diminished self-identity, and the loss of authentic joy. The imposter syndrome, hiding accomplishment. Another profound struggle often hidden behind a bright, competent smile is imposter syndrome. This isn't just about low self-esteem. This condition specifically affects high achievers, women who are highly educated and respected in their professional fields. A woman experiencing imposter syndrome fundamentally believes that she is not competent for her position and that her impressive accomplishments are due solely to luck or extreme hard work rather than genuine skill. I worked with a clinical psychologist and co-founder of a major global startup who confessed that despite her accolades, she had wrestled with crippling lack of confidence for most of her life. She outwardly appeared independent and successful, but internally, she was constantly battling self-doubt. Another brilliant young woman, a top honors graduate and research assistant at Stanford, admitted she was genuinely surprised to be accepted into an Ivy League master's program, believing it was pure luck due to the intense competition. The inner struggle here is the belief that one must work harder than everyone else to conceal this perceived lack of competence. They fear that if they admit their success is simply a result of luck, they will be exposed as a fraud. They even fear that achieving success will make them less likable. As former First Lady Michelle Obama once admitted regarding her own struggle with imposter syndrome, the constant question was, "Am I good enough?" Her strategy, like many high-achieving women, was to simply work harder and let her results speak for themselves, effectively overcoming the insecurity through sheer effort. This strategy, while effective for external success, does not heal the internal wound of self-doubt. The emotional toll of hiding it. In what happens when a woman continuously suppresses her true emotional state, be it chronic sadness, anxiety, or deep self-doubt? The cost is immense, manifesting in psychological fatigue and physical illness. The symptoms of emotional suppression, emotional pain, does not vanish simply because we hide it. Suppressed emotions are nurtured and grow, weighing heavily on the mind. A woman who hides profound unhappiness often exhibits a series of subtle, yet telling, behaviors. Overcompensation with positivity. She is the loudest laugher, the constant joke cracker, the one who assures everyone else everything is fine, using excessive cheerfulness as a deliberate distraction from her true sadness. Avoidance of deep conversations. She is a phenomenal listener and supporter. But the moment the focus shifts to her own struggles, she changes the subject or dismisses it with humor, unwilling to risk vulnerability and expose her pain. Constant busyness, the escape tactic. She throws herself into work, hobbies and social events filling every single minute. This manic schedule is not a sign of fulfillment, but a way to actively prevent slowing down and having to face feelings of sadness, loneliness, or frustration. Chronic fatigue or "I'm just tired." When asked if something is wrong, the immediate answer is often, "I'm just tired." This is a simple, socially acceptable explanation that bypasses any deep questioning, yet it reflects the profound emotional and physical exhaustion of maintaining the facade. The sadness in her eyes. A smile is practiced, but the eyes often betray the truth. The exhaustion and lingering sadness are visible in her gaze, showing that her joy never quite reaches her eyes. Inability to accept help. Accepting help feels like admitting weakness or failure. She will push through exhaustion, insist she has it, and refuse support, even when desperately drowning, because she feels she should be able to handle everything alone. Giving more than receiving. The drain. She pours all her emotional and physical energy into supporting others, constantly checking in and making sure everyone else is okay, rarely asking for the same in return. This giving becomes a painful distraction, reinforcing the belief that her value comes from what she offers rather than who she is. Trauma and physical scars. The invisible struggle for many women. The mask hides profound trauma and physical burdens that dramatically affect their mental health. Statistics show that women are impacted by mental disorders at a higher rate than men. This is particularly true for women navigating life-altering physical challenges, such as paralysis caused by a spinal cord injury, SCI, or other conditions. Following an SCI, women face adjustment phases akin to grief, confusion, denial, anger, depression, and eventually acceptance. Depression rates among individuals with SCI are alarmingly high, up to 47%. For women with disabilities, the risk of depression is compounded, often double that of men with disabilities, largely due to facing additional barriers like unemployment, lower wages, and the sheer effort required to complete daily routines. The impact on body image is profound. Societal standards define ideal beauty narrowly: white, thin, and tall, images that rarely include women with disabilities. Media often compounds this by portraying disabled women as angry, helpless, or unattractive. Consequently, women with paralysis may struggle immensely with self-worth and body image, seeing themselves as not normal or incompetent. As one woman, Kiana, who sustained a T4-T5 injury, advised, "You are here. It doesn't matter what you look like. You can still live your life. This is just a detour on your journey. Your path is not over." Yet, the struggle is real. Many hide their changed bodies and needs, feeling ashamed or afraid of stigma. Hiding one's disability in photos is a sign of an unhealthy body image. Another woman, Sarah, noted that her wheelchair sent her anxiety skyrocketing during her son's wedding, yet she pushed through. These women hide the daily physical and emotional battle to simply exist, function, and feel worthy in a world not built for them. Finding the authentic self. Paths to healing. The good news is that these masks, whether they conceal smiling depression, imposter syndrome, or the emotional fallout of physical struggle, can be removed, and healing can begin. It starts with a crucial first step: honesty. The effort to maintain the illusion of being fine is exhausting, and it leads straight to burnout, isolation, and often turning to substances like alcohol or drugs to cope with the silent suffering. As one client shared, she maintained her composed exterior until she hit a crisis point. "Most people thought I was fine. I didn't even think of it as depression because I was still doing everything I was supposed to. But inside I felt numb and exhausted all the time. Coming here gave me the chance to finally stop pretending. I didn't have to explain everything perfectly. I just had to show up. Practical steps toward vulnerability for those struggling to shed the mask. Professionals advocate for several key strategies. Seek professional help. This is paramount, especially if symptoms like sadness, anxiety, or feelings of worthlessness persist for more than 2 weeks, or if thoughts of self-harm arise. Treatment often involves a combination of medication, if needed and only prescribed by a doctor, and psychotherapy. Finding a therapist with whom you feel genuinely comfortable and safe is key to success. Practice vulnerability and communication. Share your authentic emotions with someone you trust, a friend, family member, or colleague. If you feel too afraid to speak, writing a journal about your feelings and challenges can be a powerful practice in expressing what you suppress. If you want others to understand your emotions and support you, you must speak up. Silence and withdrawal prevent them from knowing how to help. Move and manage stress. Physical activity is vital for mental health. Exercise releases endorphins, which enhance feelings of well-being and shift the mind away from negative thoughts. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can improve mood. Adaptive exercises, yoga, and meditation are excellent ways to manage anxiety, reduce stress, and find inner peace. Embrace self-acceptance over perfection. Women must consciously choose to lower the bar of impossible perfection. This is not about giving up, but about choosing a path of conscious, meaningful living. As a woman who is paralyzed shared, I didn't take time to smell the roses and enjoy life before the injury. It forced me off the treadmill of my life and allowed me to be more of my authentic self than ever before. Build a strong support system. When facing profound change or emotional struggle, a strong network of friends, family, and community groups is essential. Peer support groups, especially for specialized struggles like dealing with disability or chronic depression, offer invaluable guidance and perspective from others who truly understand the experience. You must continuously challenge yourself to stay connected and reach out, even when the instinct is to isolate, to cultivate a healthy self-image and self-esteem. Women must focus on maximizing the positive aspects of their lives and deliberately minimizing negative thoughts. Stop making unfair comparisons, especially to the false perfection seen online. Instead, acknowledge your strengths, celebrate your accomplishments, and believe in your inherent worth. It is a profound struggle when the smile you present to the world is miles away from the quiet exhaustion inside. To the woman who reads this, still carrying that impossible weight, I want you to know this. You don't have to keep pretending. The most courageous thing you can do is let go of the impossible expectation of perfection and choose to live authentically. Your strength is not measured by the facade you keep up, but by the courage to seek help, embrace vulnerability, and acknowledge that sometimes simply showing up for yourself is the most important fight you will ever win. Healing begins the moment you allow yourself to be seen, imperfections and all.